Hi folks, welcome back to the shop. Today I just want to speak briefly about lighting, specifically work lights. A few years ago I was looking to get some newer LED lighting. Of course, there's an unlimited amount of lighting options out there. But I wanted to focus in on this. This is what I zeroed in on and began to carry. This is the Rofus R3 light, and unfortunately, they no longer are in business. I think Rofus, they're not selling lights. But this light was interesting because it had a magnetic charging port, which is great to keep water out of the light. Gives it a higher waterproof rating, and of course, it's easier to charge. And if you have more than one Rofus light, of course, it's not too hard to ensure that you have extra chargers. But this was just a good LED light with multiple modes. But the biggest reason I liked it is it had an angled head, right? So if you were working with this light and you needed to set it in any sort of angle or direction, you could stand the light up, right? And get the direction you want, or you could attach the light, it has a magnetic base, to a surface and then articulate the light. Let's say you attached it to a door hinge, in someone's home, and you're working to get this light pointed to the direction that you need, right? So that was awfully handy. And of course it has a clip on it as well, so you could put it at a right angle and mount it on your belt or in a backpack or whatever. So just an all-around handy light. And that was the idea behind this light, is that you get a lot of flexibility out of it for work. So it doesn't have to necessarily be this light. I know Milwaukee makes a great light. It's larger than this, but it's the same concept. It has an angled head, has a magnetic base. That's the key feature to these lights. If you get those two features, that's what you're really looking for in a good work light, from my view. After that, I tried some other lights. Another one I tried was the standard stick light. We see these all over the place now. This is a Braun that's sold at Harbor Freight. And this light was nice, as you could stand it up and articulate the head either way, right? It'll tip back or tip forward. It even rotates, right? This pivots if you need to pivot it. And this light, it has pluses and minuses, right? Two different settings. Of course, it's on bright, dim, and then I think the tip comes on. The good thing about this light is if it's on for a few seconds and you want to turn it off, you don't have to go through all the modes. That was one of the key things I liked about it. That, and it takes a standard, as you can see, it just shut off instead of having to hit it multiple times. And it also takes a standard 18650 battery that can be replaced. So it's got a replaceable battery. You're not stuck with a light that you can't upgrade the power in or get something that, or just get replacement batteries or backup batteries. This one charges up via USB or micro USB right there. And a handy light. The only downside is it's a large light. If you're carrying it or trying to be portable. Its big advantage is it has its own built-in stand, and they can articulate down. So if you mount this on the side of, let's say, a furnace or something like that, because it has this standoff, right? You can oftentimes have this light, come around a corner and actually go into or shine into whatever you're trying to get the light on at this 90-degree angle. That's really what makes this light unique, and something that only this style of light, doesn't have to be a Braun necessarily. I think there's an Astro AI or other brands out there, but that's what makes this style of light unique, is that you can get it to go almost around objects. Gives it a feature that the lights don't have. Of course, it has a magnetic base as well. That's another key feature, right? So, like I said, you'd stick this on, let's say, a side of a cabinet, furnace cabinet you're working on, and you can get that light in the direction that you want. So, like I said, the only drawback with this light is it really just kind of large. But I like the key characteristics of that light. And what I felt was a better light than that, and this is something newer, is this one by Klein, right? And of course, like the Braun light, it has some of the same characteristics, right? The light can stand on its own. It has its own base, right? And so you can set it on a flat surface, right? You can magnetically attach this light. It's got a magnet here on the bottom, so it magnetically attaches. That's two ways to mount this light. But in addition to those two items, it has a carabiner style hook. So now you can hook this light the same way you would hook a shop light up, right? And on top of that, and this is really what makes a light great, is that you can pivot it. So if you get this light hung, let's say you hung this on some Romex between two studs, you can hang this light up, and it's only going to hang in that one position due to where you've mounted it, and but on the Romex between two studs. But you take this, and now you can pivot it wherever you need the light, right? And now you can see whatever it is you're directing the light toward. You can even articulate it up, right? If you need to shine more downward, or even upward, right? This is why the light's hanging, I'm talking about now. So very, very versatile light that has 3 different ways of mounting it, right? So that makes it really, handy. And, you could mount it on the side of a cabinet and bring it down. Now this light, as you can see, this base comes around, and unlike the Braun, it doesn't really swing around in the same way, right? Because this would strike the edge, right? So you really can't get it in that flat orientation. You can try some different things, because I've tried different ways, but it just doesn't quite mount the way this light does. But you can generally work around that. It'll still work and make do. Another great feature of this light is that it has a ring around it that glows. It picks up from the light as the light's on, and then when you turn it off, this outer ring, you can't really see it on camera here, this outer ring here glows. Very handy for when you turn the light off and it's pitch black and you're like, where did I put the light? And maybe you didn't realize it was going to be pitch black when you turn the light off. You're in a crawl space or something like that. The other great thing is it can be used to charge a cell phone. There is a plug in here, right? I think this is the charging side, and here's a USB-A or standard USB type plug that you can use to charge a cell phone. So a lot of features of this light, but like I said, the key thing is that it can mount 3 different ways. By magnet, it can stand up on its own, it can hang, and on top of that, it pivots, right? So once you get it mounted somewhere quickly, you're quickly pivoting this light to wherever you need it. Very handy work light. Really like this one. Now, for something, around the shop, something else that I really like, if you're around the shop, is one of these, I guess you could call it a shop light or a stick light. These are really a replacement to the old school shop lights that used to hang from an extension cable. Folks would pull down from the ceiling, right? They'd be hanging upside down. You'd pull them down, and you would get a receptacle for power, basically an extension cord, and you would get light. This really is just a newer iteration of that, but boy, is it much more handy, because you're not fighting a cord on the end of this light. And the reason I found this light was, basically what had happened was I went out and looked for shop lights on Amazon, and I sorted by the best-selling shop lights on Amazon, and I looked at the top 5 or 10, and then I did a sort on Amazon by the best sellers, the top 5 or 10, and I noticed that DeWalt's shop light, DeWalt's version of this light, basically was in the top 5 on each one of those searches. And I think it was number 1 on one of those searches actually as well. And so I decided to buy one for my father. And when I did, I bought this version because I had Milwaukee batteries and was on their platform. And he was on DeWalt. I got the DeWalt for him, got Milwaukee for me. Now the DeWalt is, I think this one's 500 lumens. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe it's 500 lumens, and it steps down, I think, to 300. And it puts out more of a softer light. Milwaukee talks a lot about the brightness of the light, in the sense that if you're looking at a wiring harness or something, it's supposed to give more of a true color of whatever you're looking at. So it makes it easier to spot different colors if you are working in a dark, closed environment, rather than a really bright LED that might wash out a lot of the color that you're looking for. So it does put out an excellent light. I like the fact that DeWalt puts out 1,000 lumens. Sometimes you want that brightness, but I find that this light, I just like the size of it better, and I feel that it's, outside of the brightness, I feel like it's built better, and I like the color. One thing I like about this Milwaukee as well is the way they've done the hook at the top. And if you look at this, you'll see that, it just doesn't push down in here. If you took this hook, and you can draw the hook out, right? You turn it, it comes out of a notch. I can't really get that. It's not focusing for me. Maybe we'll get that to focus here in a minute if we're lucky. But if you look at this hook, you can see how it goes down into a hole, right? There's a lock position and an unlock position. You go to the unlock position, and then it will pull up. And then what's interesting is when it pulls up, it actually has an indentation there, right? So it becomes fixed in that position. Now you can spin it back, spin it forward, so you can hang this light any way you need to on this hook, regardless of what orientation you need. And then when you're done with it, you push it down. And this is something the DeWalt does not have. The DeWalt does not kind of have this point where it fixes in this indentation. And DeWalt does not have this feature where you push into this loop and then turn it, and it's square on top, and then it's fixed. That hook's not going anywhere. It's not going to come out by mistake or come loose. And another interesting thing about the Milwaukee is they've added another hook here on this handle. You can pull this up, and you can, of course, hook to this, and you could hook up to both of these hooks and hang the light, under a hood of a car or something like that, right? I mean, of course you can do something like this. Hook this under a hood of a car or something along those lines. But what I like about this hook is it's in this track, right? And you'll notice this if you get one of these. Everybody, I'm sure figures this out, but if you push it to the top of the track, it will actually fix in sort of like a pendant location. I'll see if it clicks here. I think it might if I get it right. Or no, down here, sorry. You can see the ball bearing down here at the bottom. But if I come down here, it clicks into position. Right there, snaps into place. Now it's not, once I get it there, now it's not going to be sliding around on you, right? It's not going to slide in this port unless you pull up on it, apparently. Yeah, unless you were to twist it. If you just put it direct pressure down, it's not going anywhere. If you twist it, it pops out of that bearing, and then you push it back up, and then integrates very nicely back into the handle, right? So very, very innovative product from Milwaukee. And another thing about Milwaukee I've noticed it's interesting is that you feel this and you feel like, wow, this feels like a nice quality plastic. It's my understanding it's because they have glass that they put as part of the polymer. So they add glass to this polymer, and it gives it this finish and this overall, I think, durability that you just don't get with your standard plastic. So anyway, it's one of these lights that's very handy. You don't realize how handy it is until you get it. It's why I show this today, because a lot of folks might see these and think, well, I don't need that, or what's the point? Well, the value is, of course, it articulates down. And if you're working on something, you can sort of get sort of like a desk lamp type, especially if you're working on something small, it's hard to see. You can get the sort of desk lamp type set up here very quickly so you can see what you need to do up close. Or if you're working under a car, just drop it under your truck or your car, and now you're shining up and you can see, what's going on. Super handy. And back to what I was saying about the lights earlier, the fact that you can hook this light, okay, and the fact that it can stand up gives it two ways to mount it, okay. So what's missing? Well, it doesn't have a magnet on it. The 12-volt version of this does, but the 12-volt version doesn't have this articulating head. These nice, pendant ends. See, so. Again, when you look at these shop lights, it's not just about light. It's about, how's it going to mount? What's the functionality of it? How handy is it going to be? And of course, the beauty, really what I like about these shop lights is you're getting another use out of these batteries that you've got for all your power tools. You're quickly getting another use out of it, especially in wintertime when you might be in the shop more, getting more value. And you've got massive capacity. There's I think 5 18650 battery cells in here, right? That's a lot more, cells than what's going to be in the one that's in this LED light. So you're getting a lot of reserve power, even though this is just a 2 amp hour battery. I mean, I could put a much bigger battery on here, but even this smaller, slim 2 amp hour battery, CP2O, is still a lot more power than you're going to get in your typical light. So really like this Milwaukee shop light. Excellent. And when you're not using it, of course, you can just hang it up out of your way. Very handy, really indispensable once you use it. And one more light I want to touch on. This one is by Olight. It's a small light. It's the, I've talked about this before. They now reference it, I think, as the Baton 3. But I believe it was S1R is how they used to reference this light in the previous generations. But what I like about this light is, hey, it's small, compact. Of course, it's got a magnetic base, right? And it makes it very handy. But really, the selling point for me on this light, beyond just its general, the fact it's compact and very easy to have on your person and carry on your bag, is that you can use this as a shop light very quickly. Taking their clip, you can just slide this clip on a hat, and now you've got a hat light. You don't have to carry, a separate hat light with you. And yes, you could do this with different lights, but the fact this one is this size, right? They've made it as small as really possible. You don't feel it. It doesn't really weigh down the hat. It's very easy to put on and make use of, and very handy. Long run time, much longer run time, and much much brighter than your typical hat light that a lot of folks would use. So really like this product as well because of, again, its multiple uses. So anyway, folks, that's there you have it. So the 5 different work lights that I would recommend for folks, or some variation of these lights, would be something that I would recommend. And here you have all 5. I would probably, like I said, I probably wouldn't, this one I wouldn't necessarily recommend. I would say that you probably have a better solution with the Braun by going with this Klein light. That's excellent. And I know there's other people that make the Klein light, but Klein has really got the best design on this light by far, and really a decent price as well. Like I said, Braun is something I've tried before that, you know, I think in the right application, if you don't mind it being larger and taking up more space, it can work great as well. I do think there's some newer iterations that you can use in your shop that are an improvement on this by far. Like they have rechargeable magnetic ports and things like that. You can easily find those online. But there you have it. You know, the key thing is what the lights have in common in terms of their different mounting points. Of course, Klein being the most versatile, having 3 different ways to mount the light, really makes it probably the most versatile shop light, whether you're working under a sink or working in a crawl space, anywhere you need somebody holding a light for you and you don't have a helper. Anyway, folks, there you have it. Just a brief word on lights and shop lighting. Thanks for joining, and please, if you like the video, click like and subscribe. Until next time.